When a young player steps onto the NBA Finals stage for the very first time, the pressure is unlike anything else in sports. The lights are brighter, the crowd louder, every possession has weight. Most players take a few games just to adjust. But not this guy. What he did in his first two Finals games shattered expectations, rewrote history, and sent a message loud and clear. This moment wasn't too big for him, it was built for him. Heading into the Finals, everyone was asking the same question. Would the moment be too big? The Finals stage has broken legends before. But from the opening tip of Game 1, it became obvious this wasn't going to be about nerves. This was going to be about dominance. The player? Locked in. From the very first possession, he was hunting mismatches, reading coverages like a veteran, and scoring at will. And by the end of that first night, the numbers weren't just impressive, they were historic. Let's rewind for context. Most greats, even the all-time ones, don't explode in their first Finals appearance. LeBron, Game 1 of his first Finals, 14 points. Kobe, 15. Even Jordan put up a modest 36 in his debut legendary, but nothing close to what we were seeing here. This was different. There was no warm-up phase, no hesitation. Just cold-blooded buckets from the jump in Game 1. He poured in 38. Efficient, relentless, explosive. Whether it was off the catch, in isolation, in transition, it didn't matter. The Mai defense threw bodies at him, switched coverages, tried to get physical. Still, bucket after bucket. What stood out most wasn't just the scoring, it was the variety. One trip down the floor, he's hitting a sidestep three with a hand in his face. Next trip, he's bullying his way into the paint, absorbing contact, finishing through traffic. Then he's pulling up from mid-range like it's a free throw. Everything looked comfortable. Nothing felt forced. The reaction from the other team? You could see it shift mid-game. Early on, they were playing their standard coverages. By the second half, they were scrambling, hedging higher on screens, doubling him off the catch, trying to trap him at half court. But it didn't matter. He wasn't just scoring, he was dictating the tempo of the entire game. Every possession, the defense was reacting to him. By the end of Game 1. The building was buzzing. Commentators were running out of superlatives. Social media exploded. This wasn't just a great debut, this was one of the best Finals debuts ever. But here's the craziest part. Game 2 was even better. Usually, after a breakout performance, the defense adjusts. That's how it goes. You have a big Game 1, you become target number 1. But in Game 2, instead of cooling off, he turned the heat up. He didn't just match the energy from Game 1, he elevated it. The team came out flat, missed shots, turnovers, sloppy rotations. They needed a spark and he gave them fire. He scored 41. In his second career Finals game, and it wasn't quiet. These were loud points, momentum shifting, crowd silencing, jaw-dropping points. Midway through the second quarter, the score was tied. Then he went on an 11-0 run by himself. Three-pointer from the wing, steal, fast break dunk, foul line jumper. Another deep three. The other team had no answers. You could see their body language slump with every make. And this wasn't an empty stat performance either, he was carrying his squad. Every time the momentum started to swing, he answered. Down the stretch, with the game in the balance, it was his show. There was a possession late in the fourth, 92-91, 2 minutes left. He called for the isolation. Defender in his face, clock winding down, step back three, cash. Cold-blooded. Next trip, he draws a double, kicks it to the corner for a wide-open three. That's game through 2 games. He had 79 total points, the most ever by a player in their first 2 Finals games. Think about that. In the most pressure-packed moment of his career, with the spotlight burning and expectations sky high, he didn't blink. He delivered one of the most dominant 2-game stretches the Finals has ever seen. But here's the question. No one saw coming was this, just the beginning. After back-to-back scoring explosions, the buzz wasn't just national, it was global. Analysts were comparing his start to the greats. Fans were digging through history books. The numbers didn't lie. What we were witnessing wasn't just rare. It was unprecedented. 2 Finals games, 79 points, and most importantly, 2 wins. But behind the headlines and highlights, something else was happening, something that gave this run even more weight. He wasn't just scoring, he was leading. That's the part people missed early on. This wasn't just about one player getting hot. It was about one player lifting an entire team. The body language from his teammates, completely different. Guys were running harder in transition, rotations were sharper. Everyone looked more confident, more locked in. That kind of energy only comes from trust, and he was earning it in real time. The defensive schemes got even tighter in Game 3. They blitzed every screen, switched everything, tried to wear him down physically. And to be fair, it worked for a while. He started the game slow. First quarter, just 5 points. Missed a couple jumpers he'd usually knock down. But here's where things took a turn. Instead of forcing shots, he adjusted. He shifted into playmaker mode, drawing help, making the skip pass, letting the game come to him. The scoring would come later, and it did. In the third quarter, he found his rhythm again. Off a broken play, he hit a leaning three at the shot clock buzzer. Crowd went silent. Next trip, he splits a double and finishes through contact. Suddenly, he's back in that zone, that scary zone where it doesn't matter who's guarding him or how the defense is set up. He's going to find a way to score. By the end of the third, he was up to 26 points. And even though his team fell behind late, you never felt like the game was out of reach. Because this guy had already shown he could take over whenever he wanted. With 3 minutes left, they were down by 6. Timeout. Crowd roaring. This was the kind of moment where legends are made or forgotten. And what followed? Pure killer instinct. They run a set to get him the ball at the top. Switch comes. He sizes up the big man, steps back 3. Bang. Next possession, he comes off a screen, pulls up from the elbow splash. Tie game. And then, with under a minute to go, they clear it out. 1-on-1. Defender right in his grill, no help in sight. He fakes right, crosses left, gets into the paint, hangs and finishes off the glass. And just like that, the lead was back in their hands. That sequence, that run, told you everything you needed to know. This wasn't just a young star putting up numbers. This was a player who understood the moment, who embraced the pressure, and delivered every single time his team needed him most. Even the opposing coach, in the post-game presser, admitted it. We threw everything at him. We changed coverages, sent doubles, tried to deny him touches, and he still found a way. That's the type of respect that doesn't come from the box score. That comes from impact, from dominance. And here's the wild part, we're only 2 games in. Think about that. 2 games into his finals career, and he already holds a record that stood for decades. This wasn't someone easing into the biggest stage. He owned it from the start. The pressure turned it into fuel. The spotlight made it look like home court. And with the series shifting, the stakes only getting higher, the question wasn't whether he could keep it up, it was whether anyone could stop him. Because at this point, it wasn't just about points anymore. It was about control. Every time he touched the ball, the defense tightened up. Every time he pulled up, the crowd held its breath. He had the game and the moment in his hands. And the scariest part for the other team? He was still getting better. By the time Game 4 tipped off, the tone of the series had completely shifted. This wasn't just a finals matchup anymore. It was a showcase, a takeover. And the entire basketball world was watching one man to see if the magic could continue. Could he keep delivering? Could he push the boundary even further? What happened next wasn't just a statement, it was a reality check for everyone still doubting. From the jump, the defense was desperate. Full court pressure, face guarding, double. Teams off the catch, you name it, they tried it. This wasn't strategy anymore, it was survival. Because they knew if he got comfortable, it was already too late. But comfort? That didn't even matter. Even under constant pressure, he looked poised. First play of the game, catch on the wing, jab step, 1 dribble, pull-up mid-range bucket. Second, possession transition, defense not set, straight to the rim, and 1. 2 minutes in, he already had 7. The message? Sent, but it was what came next that truly set him apart. Midway through the second quarter, the defense finally forced a couple turnovers, got a few stops, crowd got back into it. For the first time all night, there was tension. The score was tied. Momentum swinging. It felt like one of those moments where the storm might finally calm. But instead of folding, he escalated. Back-to-back plays, same exact move. High ball screen, split the trap, rise up from the elbow splash. Then he reads the defense cheating up, backdoor cut, perfect lob finish. Then on the next trip, just when they expect him to shoot again, he whips a no-look pass to the corner for a 3. It wasn't just scoring anymore, it was manipulation. He was 2 steps ahead of every rotation, every switch, like he had the scouting report in his hands by halftime. He had 23, the other team looked exhausted. Not physically, mentally. Every adjustment they made, he answered. Every body they threw at him, he found a counter. It wasn't just offense either. He started picking off lazy passes, pushing the pace, fueling fast breaks. His fingerprints were all over every part of the game and down the stretch. Just like clockwork, he closed it. Late in the fourth, the game was tied again 98-98, under 2 minutes left. They ran the same set they had used all series. Clear out on the left wing, get him downhill, space the floor. But this time, instead of going all the way, he stops on a dime, steps back, and buries a 3 with a hand in his face. Next possession. He baits the help, drops it off for a cutting teammate easy dunk. Final minute, he gets fouled, hits both free throws, then seals it with a steal and a breakaway finish. 36 points, 7 assists, 4 steals. And most importantly, the win at that point. The numbers didn't even look real anymore. 4 finals games into his career, and he was averaging 38 per game. Nobody in history had done it. Not Jordan, not Shaq, not LeBron, not even Wilt. That kind of production in that kind of moment unheard of. What makes this even more wild is the context. This wasn't a veteran team. There wasn't a superstar next to him soaking up attention. He was the system. He was the offense. Every possession, every decision flowed through him, and yet, the efficiency? Off the charts. Shooting over 50% from the field, nearly 40% from 3, perfect reads all night. That kind of balance between scoring, playmaking, and decision-making doesn't usually come in year 1, let alone game 1 of the finals. And here's what really shook everyone. He made it look easy. There was no fluke here, no lucky night. This was sustained, calculated domination. He read the game like a 10-year vet, moved like an MVP, and scored like a superstar. And maybe most importantly, he wanted the pressure. You could see it in his body language. No flinching, no frustration, just hunger. A quiet, ruthless kind of hunger that you only see in the great ones by the time Game 4 ended. The other team wasn't just worried about the series, they were questioning reality. How do you stop someone who can't be rattled, can't be schemed against, and lives for the biggest moments? The scary answer, you don't. Because what we witnessed in those first 2 games wasn't just history. It was a warning. A new era had arrived. And the player who dropped the most points ever in his first 2 finals games didn't just set a record, he set the tone for the future. This wasn't just a breakout. This was the birth of a problem for the entire league.